Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order this joint meeting of the Troy Board of Education and the Wynantskill Board of Education with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. I would like to extend a warm welcome to the board members and administration from Wynantskill Union Free School District. As you know, our communities are more than neighbors. We are longtime partners, and we look forward to our students participating in merged sports for the first time in the fall. We appreciate you joining us for this important conversation about the future of public education in our communities. At this point, I would like to turn the meeting over to Mr. Carmelo, who will introduce the guest speakers this evening.
Thank you very much. For those that don't know, I'm John Carmelo, superintendent here in Troy. Been in Troy 20 years now, starting my 21st year and starting my 13th year as superintendent. And I'm very proud to hold that position. We're joined tonight by two people who will be speaking. One is our district superintendent, Gladys Cruz, and the other is David Elliott from the New York State Education Department. So first up, I'd like to welcome Ms. Gladys Cruz. Dr. Gladys Cruz.
Good evening, everyone. It is always a pleasure to come and visit with you and to have a conversation with our component boards. This evening, I come to you as we come together for this important discussion. As your BOCES district superintendent, I help local superintendents and school boards facilitate discussions on a variety of topics impacting their school communities. My role and the role of the BOCES is to serve as a neutral resource, providing information, resources, and assistance as you consider all angles of this complex and significant topic. Prior to tonight's meeting, we convened a meeting of superintendents Carmelo and Jonas, leaders at the BOCES, and representatives from the New York State Education Department, including David Elliott, who is the coordinator of Educational Aid Services. I want to thank David for being here with us tonight and for providing us guidance and serving as a resource and for ensuring that we follow the state regulations. Ultimately, the school boards must decide whether to pursue a joint feasibility study to see if this is the appropriate step for both of your communities. We at the BOCES are here to support you and your school communities and assist you with making an informed decision.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to introduce the Wynantskill Board President, Nicole Herbenton.
Good evening, and thank you to the Troy City School District Board for hosting us tonight. As the Wynantskill Union Free School District Board President, I can attest that this meeting is the culmination of significant and introspective journey for our district. Over the past months, we have engaged deeply with our community, staff, students, families, and residents through our optimization study. This included in-person forums, individual and small group interviews, remote meetings, and surveys. In addition to qualitative stakeholder feedback, a comprehensive review and analysis of achievement data quantitative data was conducted. This included state aid runs, enrollment trends, student achievement data, and a wide range of financial metrics, such as tax rates, tax levy history, expenditure patterns, and reserve levels. What emerged was a powerful affirmation of our close-knit community and the high-quality, personalized education we provide. However, the study also unequivocally highlighted the significant fiscal pressures and the limitations we face in expanding academic and extracurricular offerings due to our size. Our community expressed a clear desire for expanded opportunities for our students, particularly at the middle school, and for long-term financial stability. The optimization study identified a potential merger with a suitable educational partner, specifically mentioning Troy City School District. Our consultants also recommended that the district pursue a reorganization feasibility study with the Troy City School District, pending mutual agreement from both school boards. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to have a conversation to gauge interest in a joint feasibility study. If initiated, this feasibility study would conduct a thorough analysis of both districts' projected enrollments and staffing, program offerings, curriculum, transportation, and the potential fiscal impacts of reorganization, including state aid, expenditures, and local tax implications. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce from the New York State Education Department, Mr. David Elliott.
Good evening. I'm going to read some prepared remarks before I go into the presentation that I have. So thank you to the Boards of Education and to Dr. Cruz and to Superintendents Armello and Yogas for inviting me here this evening, and a special thank you to Troy for hosting. School district reorganization is not the easiest topic to discuss. There are currently about 700 active and operating school districts in New York State, and each and every one represents a community bond that's been seen as a fixed constant for generations. But school districts in New York hold a unique position in the organization of state government. School districts, which have largely remained structurally unchanged for multiple generations, have evolved to become the beating heart of small cities, towns, and villages, organized and controlled by the residents of those communities and based on a set of mutually agreed upon borders and boundaries, and strong commitment and dedication to serving the continuously evolving needs of children and families that reside within them. About 200 years ago, it was estimated that there were 11,000 independent school districts in New York State. 100 years later, by 1956, after passing several laws and incentivizing consolidation and reorganization, that number shrank to about 1,500. Population drives the ability to effectively operate a school district. If there are more residents, that means that there are more children and a greater tax base to support the expenses to operate a school district. But businesses and local industries do change over time, which has a direct impact on population. The changes in population, coupled with increasing operational costs overall, present a challenge to residents that would be financially, socially, and emotionally to provide school-age children who live in the district with the best possible education that you're able to provide. By sharing the services and expenses that a school district encounters with its neighbors, that is one way to optimize a school district. And Troy and Wynantskill do this already. They do it directly and they do it through BOCES. But sometimes a formal reorganization can provide a significant benefit to school districts that cannot be realized through other means. Reorganized school districts can achieve greater economies of scale, can cost less to operate than 2 or more districts individually, and with the assistance of the incentives that are provided in the law, it can allow for new or newly enlarged school districts to provide more for its communities than it ever could previously. The Education Department has one priority: to ensure that all school-age children in the state have the knowledge and skills they need to succeed into adulthood. Education, how education is delivered is the responsibility of the school districts, and ultimately, the residents who live in and work in and support that mission. Well, the decision to reorganize a school district is not an easy one, and it should only be considered carefully and deliberately. The Commissioner of Education will not order a reorganization or a consolidation without ample evidence that the residents of those school districts support a reorganization. Troy and Wynantskill appear poised at this time to authorize a formal reorganization feasibility study. Over the next several months, the two districts will meet with consultants who will look at all aspects of the current school districts and explore options for a merger. Once that report is complete, the districts will informally assess public support for reorganization. If it appears to be favorable, the residents of Wynantskill will have the opportunity to vote on whether the school district should be annexed by Troy. If the vote result is favorable and the Troy School Board resolves to accept the proposal, the Commissioner of Education will order the consolidation of the two school districts. The Education Department, Dr. Cruz and Questar Boses, will continue to serve as a neutral and independent source of information and will support the needs of both school districts throughout this process. So I have a little a presentation here on how reorganization of school districts in New York will work. So reorganization is the act of creating a new school district in an area where one or more school districts have previously existed. In this case, the only option available because of the type of school district that we have a union-free school district and a city school district. By law, the only option for reorganization between those two types of school districts is that the city district annexes the neighborhood. School district organization is not permanently fixed. That is by design. The laws allow for changes over time. As you heard me say earlier, 200 years ago, there were 11,000 school districts in this state. There are currently 700, give or take, which is still a lot, all things considered. Education Law 314 authorizes the Commissioner to continue updating the Master Plan for School District Organization, which was originally commissioned almost 100 years ago in 1942 and revised only once in 1958. As I said earlier, why two districts or more would consider a reorganization is for a larger student population and tax base, and there is the added incentive of operating aid that gets apportioned to the reorganized school district. This means that there are more opportunities, there's more educational programming that can happen, and it's generally thought of as a benefit to the community. Additionally, there is an incentive added on to the building aid that gets paid to a school district after the reorganization happens. And this can greatly help to upgrade and improve the buildings, grounds, and other school facilities. As I said, the only option here is an annexation by Troy of the Wynantskill School District. Because a city school district, by law, can only get larger. It cannot become any other type of school district. So, in this case, the the district to be annexed will cease to exist. The board will be dissolved, and the city district will have the responsibility to educate all of the students in the larger area. School districts of any legal form outside of the city that share a border with the city district, or with the district that is joining the city, may be party to the reorganization. So as I said, school districts in New York State are permitted to share their services and expenses directly. This is in addition to the shared services that are also allowed through BOCES. Commonly, that generally looks like extracurricular activities, intramural, and athletics, performing arts groups, and even the teachers themselves. Over time, it may become obvious that a merger discussion should happen. So at the moment, we are at step one. The boards of education have met, they've discussed this, and at this point, they are going to make a decision as to whether or not to undergo a study to formally explore and assess the reorganization opportunities.
That's the easiest dirt homes.
If the boards of education agree, a feasibility study on reorganization is commissioned. There are grant opportunities available through the New York State Department of State that we would encourage school districts to apply for, which can help defray the costs of these. Additionally, and this is a very new announcement, we used to not allow aid through BOCES on these, but as of last week, we do. So the net out-of-pocket expenses for the cost of the study, and this is after deducting for any grants or external, funding, are aidable up to $50,000 out of pocket to each district.
What to do?
The draft study will have to get reviewed by me in my office prior to it being released to the boards or publicly to ensure that all the models, assumptions, and the recommendations contained therein aligned with the law and with state regulations. School boards, by the way, are strongly encouraged to make the feasibility study available publicly after it's been delivered. Step 3, the boards of education maintain transparency and hold public meetings and information sessions to ensure that the community knows what's going on. So school boards are required to conduct their business publicly. This is a very public process which will has to involve both communities at an extremely high level. There will be committees that the consultants will form, and all your input is very, very, very necessary. After the study is complete and has been delivered, boards of education, if they decide to continue with the process at that point, will hold a non-binding straw vote, or they will petition for signatures to assess the public support of the reorganization. And this is not required in law, but it is a very important step in the process. There is a firm tradition that in general in New York with school district organization that it is locally controlled. If the residents do not support a reorganization, the commissioner will not order them.
Just right. I want to make that clear.
If there is support or not, The DS of the BOCES, Dr. Cruz, will pen a letter to the commissioner to let her know what the outcome of the assessment of support is. If it's in favor, then the commissioner will create the organization board. The study itself will look at the current enrollments and projected enrollments, the current and projected staffing plans, options for education programs and curriculum, options for transportation, the fiscal implications of the reorganization, including aid, expenditures, and local tax impacts. Now, I spoke briefly about incentiving. I believe
Yes, good. You always see sounds. You sure yours. Bob. Let's take that.
these are the steps, the legal steps for what takes place in an annexation of a school district by a city district. So after the study is complete, there will be a vote held in the Wynantskill school district where the residents will cast a ballot on the question as to whether or not a reorganization should occur. If that is favorable, the proposition goes to the Troy School Board. The school board at Troy can either accept or deny or refuse the proposal at that point. There will not be a vote in Troy, nothing formal. However, as I said, the assessment of public support is a requirement, so we do need evidence that the residents of Troy do agree that this should happen, if it comes to it. If the vote is in favor and the board at Troy resolve to accept the proposal, the Commissioner of Education will issue an order of consolidation. Upon consolidation, the Wynantskill School Board and School District would be dissolved. There would no longer be a board at the Wynantskill School District. The teaching personnel at Wynantskill would have the right to employment in Troy if a vacancy exists in their tenure. This is irrespective of seniority. So I spoke a little bit about the reorganization incentive operating. So this is extra money. This is after 2 or more school districts pursue a successful reorganization. The law permits a significant amount of extra aid going to that school district after the reorg is complete. In this instance, in this case, the additional aid over the 14-year period that would come to the reorganized school district of Troy and Wynantskill would be about $240 million. That's $250 million over 14 years. I also spoke about the building aid incentive. For those of you that don't know, when school districts undergo a capital project, the expenses for that project are aided as a reimbursement aid. School districts every school district in the state has a ratio of how much aid that they get back. The enhancements permitted to school districts after a reorganization would mean that new capital projects in the reorganized school district would be eligible for 98% aid reimbursement for costs below the maximum cost allowance. We can go into the weeds on that if you want, but I'm not going to do that at the mic. You can come talk to me later. Additionally, existing debt is recalculated, the aid gets recalculated at the higher of the two school districts' previous aid ratios. Existing debt is not aided at the higher, at the enhanced aid ratio, but if one district has some outstanding capital debt, and it had a lower aid ratio than the other school district, that debt gets, the remaining debt gets recalculated at the higher of the two aid ratios. So I'm going to open to questions from the boards at this time. And I'd like to note for the people in the audience, this is the website that you can go to find all the information that you saw here on the screen. It's my office's website. I have contact information on the next slide.
Here, fixed it. Just now?
Feel free to call, email. Any questions?
Come back one.
Go back.
Yeah, easy.
Soon. Okay. Let's out.
Questions are for the people at the board table. Anybody at the board table has a question? Thank you so much, David. Very
Thank
thorough,
you.
very. That PowerPoint will also be posted. We'll have a she also talk about a dedicated site for that. It's certainly an exciting time for both districts, for both communities. Truly a win-win. I'd like to say right away, thank you to everybody who spoke. David, that was really, really thorough. I'd like to say right off the bat that Gardner Dickinson will stay open if this happens. So I've heard a lot of chatter, I've heard a lot of talk about it. The building will not close. The staff will stay intact, the facility will not only stay open, it'll get way better, and I'll explain that in a little bit shortly. Before I get to that, let me just say we wholeheartedly welcome this feasibility study, look forward to what might come of it for our two school districts. We've had a long-standing positive relationship and partnership with the Wynantskill School District going back to when I was Troy High School principal and even well before that. This coming school year, we've agreed to merge modified sports. That is all Gardner Dickinson students who want to participate in sports at the modified level this coming school year will compete with and for Troy Middle School. Gardner Dickinson students are also going to have the opportunity to participate in ski club and the middle school musical this school year. We're excited about sharing these opportunities with the Gardner Dickinson students. I've reviewed at length the report from the optimization study that was conducted that Nicole talked about. It's clear from that report and the extensive work that was completed that all stakeholder groups in Wynantskill seem to want the same thing. The school and building to stay intact and for there to be expanded opportunities for the students academically, athletically, and with extracurricular activities. I'm confident this feasibility study will show without question that a complete partnership of the two districts is how we get that done. I've already mentioned the current partnerships the two districts have. As one of the high school choices for Gardner Dickinson students, those Gardner Dickinson students who attend Troy High School thrive and excel. I did a little quick research. In the last 14 years, we've had 2 valedictorians, 4 salutatorians, and 3 students ranked number 3, all from Gardner Dickinson, that graduated from Troy High. During that same 14 years, Gardner Dickinson students who have attended Troy High have earned over 3,000 college credits through our extensive college and the high school program, averaging over 220 college credits per year, just the Gardner Dickinson kids. We have as good a college credit bearing program as anyone in the area, with 24 courses that can lead to college credit and 2 more on the way next year. Last year's graduates alone, total graduates, earned over 2,000 college credits at Troy High. Last year's graduating class also earned over $300,000 in scholarships and awards that we give out at our annual awards night. And although I don't have that breakdown, Gardner Dickinson students certainly have been beneficiaries of this scholarship money over the years as well. I haven't even mentioned yet the most compelling argument for this partnership going forward, but David did, the financial incentive aid from New York State. If we combine the two districts together, we receive over $241 million over the next 14 years. $241 million. That's game-changing money. That money will allow us to do so many outstanding things for the students and the communities of both districts. Specifically for Gardner-Dickinson, that amount of money will guarantee, as I stated earlier, that we keep the building open. The plan is not only to keep it open, but keep the faculty and staff and principal here to keep things pretty much as is. That kind of money will also allow us to expand and improve upon the already comprehensive academic, social, emotional, and athletic programs we have from pre-K to grade 12. It's money we will use to expand our after-school offerings, especially at the elementary levels, where we currently have a program in all 5 of our Troy elementary schools, Monday through Friday. In addition to our academic programs, every school offers flag football, basketball, lacrosse, field hockey, and karate at our elementary schools. Every day of the week, one of those is going on. Gardner-Dickinson will be able to have a similar schedule with those kinds of after-school programs at their school. It's also money that we will use to maintain the already low class sizes that we enjoy here in the Troy School District. In addition to that $241 million, there's an additional financial incentive that David also talked about. If this goes through, our building aid ratio increases to 98%. I wrote on here, what does that mean? David kind of explained it already. Our current building aid ratio in Troy is around 90%. And current debt gets to be switched to that. I don't know if you heard him say that. That means every dollar that we spend on a capital project here at Troy, we get 90 cents of that back from the state. That's why we've been able to do so many projects. I mean, if you came in through this way, you saw the new tech room. We've completely renovated the middle school that you're in now. We've completely renovated School 16 and School 18. We're currently in the process of a project that will bring a brand new state-of-the-art technology wing to Troy High School to be completed by the fall of 2027. It's going to be amazing. We're able to do all of those projects without any impact to taxpayers because of that building aid ratio. We spend a dime to the dollar. With the ratio now going to 98%, you can figure that out. It becomes even better. If this happens, then for every dollar we spend, including remodeling, renovating, upgrading the Gardner-Dickinson building itself, we'll get 98 cents back in state aid. We pay 2 cents for every dollar we spend. So not only, as I said, will we be able to keep the building open, we can do a capital project there and make it a state-of-the-art 21st century building with everything the staff and students need for an optimal learning environment and a safe and secure facility with no impact to taxpayers. So again, if the Gardner-Dickinson community wants the school to stay open and stay intact and get even better, this is how that happens, through the Troy-Wynantskill partnership after this study is complete. Thank you all for being here this evening. I look forward to all the town halls and all the committee and stakeholder meetings that we'll have and that will be scheduled. I look forward to answering any questions and addressing any concerns at that time. As I said earlier, this partnership is a game changer for the Troy and Wynantskill school districts, and we certainly welcome this feasibility study and the process that will follow. Thank you. I now turn it over to Superintendent Mary Oakes.
Thank you. I want to take a moment to sincerely thank everyone who joined us tonight and contribute to this important discussion. First, my deep appreciation to the Troy City School District Board of Education for hosting us and for immediately welcoming our district with such open mind and such positive future partnership discussions. Superintendent John Carmelo, thank you for your continued partnership and commitment to our students. Over the last decade, I've had the pleasure of working with you. You have done nothing but provide countless opportunities and unwavering support to our students, so I thank you. I would also like to thank New York State Education Department's David Elliott for lending his expertise and your perspective to this event, to this evening. The many questions you have answered for me personally over the past several weeks and days is to be commended. Thank you. This is a lot to take in, and I appreciate that you pick up the phone for me at all hours. Thank you. Dr. Gladys Cruz, Harry Hajanu, who's in the back, Deputy Superintendent Harry, Questar 3 BOCES, thank you for your steady leadership, your guidance, and the support you have given Wynantskill. And my 13 years, you're always right there, and I thank you. I thank you for the support you will continue to give us as we navigate through this very challenging time and process. Thank you. I want to express my gratitude to the Schmidt Leadership Group, Brian Schmidt, Bob Bridenstine, who's in the crowd here. Bob in particular spent countless hours, days on our site at Wynantskill over the last 6 months, and I appreciate everything. You took such a thoughtful, deep look at our many, many complexities of a little city school district. And we chose Bob because he lives 4.5 hours away and never heard of Wynantskill or Rensselaer County, never heard of our district, and I really wanted that fresh perspective, and you gave it to me. Sometimes harder than others. Sometimes when you left my table and I was crying, when you gave me some feedback, that was difficult, but your honest conversations were extremely helpful. You devoted so much time speaking with the stakeholder groups, helping us understand that now indeed is the right time to consider change. Thank you for answering the phone again, morning, noon, and night, when I have a question or a thought, because again, this has been an overwhelming thought process, and I appreciate the last 6 months that you put in with us. The Schmidt Group reinforced the truth that we already knew, that our community deeply, deeply loves our school district and wants to see it remain open. That was prevalent through all the meetings, all the focus groups, and all the survey. But also everybody recognizes that in order to do so, we needed additional support. We believe that the programmatic and financial support from the Tri-City School District, coupled with the $241 million from New York State, will ensure that Gardner-Dickinson remains open for many, many years to come, with the dedicated teachers and staff who have made this district a success, continuing their work right in the building, our Gardner-Dickinson School building. Most importantly, I want to thank the students, the family, the faculty, and the staff, and the residents who engaged so thoughtfully in this process of these conversations. Your feedback has shaped every step of this journey. Tonight's conversation is not an ending, it's a beginning. Once we officially onboard a consulting group and conduct the reorganization feasibility study, which we hope to do by September, there will be many, many opportunities for the entire community to participate, whether by joining committees, attending forums, sharing your thoughts and questions through community discussions. As David said, this is a community vote. We are giving it to the community to vote on taking advantage of that reorganization, money, and benefits. It's all about the community. There will be many, many meetings. We will record all the comments and questions from tonight's meeting. As far as any future meeting we have, we are creating a frequently asked question database, even from some of the things that we've seen posted in the last couple of days, or anyone that's called me or had that conversation. That will be a document that we will keep adding your thoughts to, adding your questions and your comments that will be reviewed. This will be shared with the entire community so everybody has access to the same information. There will be a shared website by the Questar 3 BOCES. Thank you, Questar, again for that. All the updates and resources will be posted on a BOCES page. They've developed that today. Again, pending the outcome of this meeting, it'll be open tomorrow. www.questar.org/feasibility. It'll be one-stop Troy and Wynantskill. Everything will be up there. Tonight's PowerPoint, everything will be a one-stop. You can keep looking for meetings, notes. That's where we will share all the communication. Already scheduled, we have several community conversations to be held on September 8th and 9th. For those of you here tonight, we prepared a handout. There was a handout, so before you go, make sure you grab one. Listing dates and times for upcoming sessions with me and Bob Bridenstine, who conducted our 6-month optimization study. So if you haven't taken one, Make sure you do. We will post it on that website and on social media. I encourage you all to attend a meeting and to learn more about the study process, the findings, and the data that supports the recommendation to move forward with the reorganization feasibility study with Troy City School District. These sessions will be informative, interactive, giving community members the opportunity to speak, share their questions, perspectives. We will answer as many questions as we have of that date. 2 of these meetings, if you see, will be held at the American Legion Hall. One will be like at 8:15, the other one at 6:45. There'll be 2 shorter informational sessions at our open houses. When we know we have a captive audience there, they'll be embedded. So again, this is just the first to share some of these, the findings from the optimization study, what brought us here today, and some basic information that we can share with you. Again, all of this information will be created on a newly Questar 3 BOCES feasibility study webpage, that www.questar.org/feasibility. It'll be shared on our social media. Please visit that page regularly for updates, review, and again, that FAQ document. Every time we have a meeting, every time we see a post, anytime somebody reaches out in an email, we're going to put those questions in an answer on a document and just keep it going. The future of our school belongs to all of us together. We will explore every single possibility and ensure that our students have the best opportunities for success. Thank you again for being here tonight and for caring so deeply about our students.
Thank you, Mary. Very well said. It's now time for public input. Please remember, this is a board meeting, so this is not the time that you're going to get an exchange with us. Mary just said there's going to be plenty of meetings. I'll go to everyone unless we have a meeting here in Troy. We will answer every one of your questions. We will address every one of your concerns. Tonight will not be a back and forth, but we do welcome comments, and we will keep track for our FAQs, as Mary mentioned. So if anyone has a comment that they want to make tonight, here's what we ask you. Come up to that microphone right there. State your name, please, and which district you live in, and then make your comment. And we will take as many as people want to talk.
Hello, I'm Angelina Washaleski. I'm with the Wynantskill Union Free School District. Thank you for hosting us and informing us of many things. My question it resides with a couple components. Well, it's not even a question, it's actually just more of a statement, as you said. In the study that was completed, the students reported that the students who preferred Troy High School, this is quoted, cited its robust academic content, comprehensive co-curricular activities, including access to advanced coursework, arts, athletics, and clubs that support both personal development and college career readiness. Those favoring Eagle Park often made their decision based on family ties and peer influences, noting that friends or siblings had attended and had positive experiences. That's all their comments were on the Eagle Park District. In an effort of transparency, but looking at statistics around these things, we see that our neighboring district of Averill Park was ranked number 22 in Albany in terms of its academics, whereas Troy was ranked number 30. This is not to minimize Troy, it's just for our district in an effort of transparency that we need to make clear that we also have a neighboring district who is competitive. There's a 97% graduation rate in Averill Park, and Troy has an 88% graduation rate. College readiness is a 23.6 out of 30 for Averill Park, and it's at a 5.6 readiness for Troy. I am very happy to hear all you said about the coursework that is being implemented at Troy, and I would like us as a community to consider that other competitiveness, because our goal is for our children to have the best education possible to succeed in adulthood, and so I really would like to see when we're looking at the districts around us and Troy, to really be very clear on how we're going to merge that gap, bridge that gap. That seems a little bit significant to us and for the stakeholders to have more information on that piece as we move forward. Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
John Maston, Wynantskill. I'll try to keep my comments over here. I have nothing against Troy, born and raised in Waterville, so nothing against Troy. When me and my wife started our family, we chose to live in Wynantskill because of Gardner Dickinson, plain and simple. We know that it's an amazing elementary school. We love the option of Algonquin and then Averill Park afterwards. We did not choose to move to Troy, South Troy, West Troy, Lansingburg. We chose Wynantskill. As far as board president stating that there's been tremendous community outreach and she's received a lot of feedback, not me, not anyone in my family, not any of my neighbors, nothing in the mail, in the newspaper, on social media, or anywhere has had anything to say about this within the last 72 hours. So until 72 hours ago, nobody knew about this, so I had absolutely no idea who you were reaching out to. And finally, you keep talking about getting 240 million or getting 98% back on capital projects. You can throw $1 billion or $10 billion at the problem. It's not going to make it better. It's about parents and community, and Wynantskill has that. And if this is to be part of Troy, then you're going to lose a lot of that. So, have a good day.
That's a check.
Hi neighbors, I'm Jeremy DeSayer from the Wynantskill School District. I'm just wondering if considering some kind of grandfather clause for those of us that moved into the district for choice amongst the 6 high schools is in consideration or in scope for the study, the feasibility study.
No. Take the post. Now we work.
Hi, I'm Laura Davey. I'm from Wynantskill. Know many of you. I've had 2 graduates from Gardner Dickinson, and both, no offense again to Troy High. Averill Park, one graduated, one's going to be a sophomore. I also had a husband who went to Gardner Dickinson and did a year at Troy High, and then Averill Park became an option. I guess my big thing is why we're just looking at one school. I'd like to get more information. Like she said, I'd like to have some more information on other school districts. And then I have a big concern, and I know some other parents do too. He's a sophomore. Is he going to be able to stay where he's at? That's a big, big issue because he never would have been sent to Troy. No offense against Troy, it's my kid. And these guys know he wasn't the easiest at Gardner Dickinson, and Averill Park has been an absolute blessing to have a teacher say it's a pleasure to have in class. That's the goal you want, and that's what we got. So I would like to have more information on other school districts.
I said we're not going to have a back and forth, and we're not, I promise. But I do want to address that because I feel like the comments in the last couple of days, if you have kids who are already in Averill Park, there's no interest in making them move. So certainly, and to your point, gentleman that was just up here, you know, we can talk about, I'm not sure we can go down to the kindergarten level, but we can talk about whether that choice can exist or not. Those are the things that we can certainly talk about during this study and during these town halls and forums. But certainly I can tell you now, if a kid is already at Averill Park, one of your children is already at Averill Park, we're not going to make them transfer schools.
Thank you. Ed Enck with Wynantskill Central School District. Our daughters currently attending Gardner Dickinson. I want to commend everybody that's sitting at both these tables here for the courage that it takes to go through this process. Having been involved as a licensed professional in the state of New York, I understand how difficult this can be for all of you, and it's a very exhausting and time-consuming and very emotional process. As a parent who's about to send our daughter to high school coming up here pretty soon, we are very proud to and very encouraged by her to send her to Troy High School. She's made the decision already that that's where she wants to go. Not just because all her friends are going there, but you know, she's a smarty pants. She's academically inclined. She loves to go to school, and Troy has an incredible amount of opportunities that are just not afforded or available at any other local school here. So I thank you for your time and consideration.
Where's my? You go first.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm from Wynantskill. I just want to get the background of my perspective. I went to Gardner Dickinson myself. I'm born and raised, chose to have a family in Gardner Dickinson. I also went to Troy High for high school. I'm also unique in the aspect that my great-grandfather is Mr. Dickinson. So I have some stronger memories for Gardner Dickinson. My question is, with all this optimization data, is the data for, if this doesn't happen, the projection of the district surviving, is that information going to be available? So if we don't, this is what we're looking at. So good, guys.
Okay.
All right, so I'm Nicole with Gardner Dickinson, and she actually stole a little bit of mine. And my question was, because we have the state here, I hear a lot of what happens if it goes through. What happens if it doesn't? Do we get another option? Do we shut down? Do we draw more lines? There's so many questions as a parent that I think the community needs answered for our children's sake. Because it's not just one vote, it's thousands. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Kate Bear. My son graduated from Gardner Dickinson. Is going to Averill Park. I did want to say Troy was right up there. We were all very impressed with what Troy had to offer just for him and having Averill Park. And thank you for answering that question. That was a big one for us. I think the big thing for us was still keeping Gardner Dickinson intact, so I'm happy to hear that that's the case. I do wonder, though, because that's feasible now, but what happens in 10, 15 years? You know what I mean? Like, do we get any kind of guarantee here? I also think we definitely need more information. I do agree with the gentleman that spoke. The only reason I heard about this was through a former teacher who's tutoring my son. That's the only way I knew about this, and I'm not sure that people on my street know about it. And I think we would just like more information. But thank you very much for having us. And Troy was a great school, so I'm not sad about that. Thank you.
Chris Larry, Gardner Dickinson. I just want to reiterate, everything was posed here as a positive that's moving forward, and not if it doesn't happen, what happens. And that's seriously disconcerting, because it seems like only one half is being presented here, and everyone here that I know is really concerned about what's going to happen. So it just seems like it's steamrolling without our knowledge of what's going on or without our input. Thanks.
I feel like I'll answer that one too. So just remember, the only thing that's being decided tonight is to do this study, right? And then the study is going to involve all the things you guys are talking about. Now, there was an optimization study prior to this that Troy School District wasn't involved in. But As far as tonight, the two boards are going to be voting on whether we move forward with a feasibility study to see if this is possible. The ultimate formal vote will happen in 7, 8 months from now. And during that time, we will have multiple meetings, town halls, forums, committees, whatever you guys need to make yourself feel comfortable. And then, during that time, we can talk about what happens if it doesn't go through. But there's no steamrolling going on, sir. Because all they're voting tonight to do is, let's look at this, let's review it, let's study it, all the different components that have been mentioned tonight. We're going to look at it all and see if it's something that we want to do. It's something that you want to do, not me. I don't get to vote on it.
Well, it just seemed like everything that was presented was when this moves forward. And sitting here, I was like, well, what about if it doesn't move forward?
That's got to be a different conversation that we'll have during the town halls. I gave my perspective, which is, I think 100% this should move forward. But I understand people will have different conversations. That's why we're going to talk about it during those meetings.
Okay, but it's just one half here, don't have the other half. If we still go home with some talk with spouses.
Understand.
Or working towards themselves.
Understand.
Hi, Megan with Wynantskill. I have a couple of questions, or I guess comments that want to be brought up by folks from Little Red. And what does that look like for Little Red? Will they be grandfathered into a clause of not having a choice of faith schools? And then the next one that got brought up with a bunch of parents was, what if there's an IEP for a child? If the board is diminished, where does that go after that? Who is going to be a spokesperson for these children for IEPs that will have to possibly go to Detroit?
I do feel the need to answer the Gardner-Dickinson one too. Gardner-Dickinson has their own board. They're not involved in this at all. The Gardner-Dickinson people will still have whatever they have right now. Unless, North Greenbush, I'm sorry. North Greenbush. North Greenbush, Little Red is what I meant to say. I'm sorry. Thank you for clarifying. Little Red, North Greenbush has their own school board and their own decisions to make about moving forward. And we've had no conversations with them. So if you're a Little Red, North Greenbush family, first of all, you don't get to vote on this either. But also, your situation is not going to change.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Pratt, and I'm from Wynantskill. I talked to Mary Yovas in depth, last week about this, and my understanding is that Gardner-Dickinson is in serious trouble in 3 years. So I would argue that it's important for us as parents to have as much information as possible in order to vote on something like this. So to go back to the prior person who said it feels like we're being steamrolled into this, I don't know that I would use that terminology, but I do think, I would argue that time is of the essence, because 3 years is going to go by in a blink, and if we're going to spend 6 months to look at this, that's a huge chunk of time when you're talking about 3 years. So I don't know, I would kind of side with, I would want more information, and do we have other options? Is this the only option? If it is, then okay, but we can deal with it at that time. But we just need as much transparency as possible, all the facts on the table, right? That's all I'm saying.
Hi, I'm Joe Walsh from Wynantskill. The one thing that really occurred to me is only finding out about this meeting just the other day. I don't know when it was planned. Maybe that was on me, that I wasn't looking at these things more closely. But just for me, the way that the process starts for me is just finding out about it just by looking at Facebook and realizing, oh, that's happening in the next 2 days. So I'd just like to make a note that moving forward, I hope that based on transparency, that there's going to be a lot more communication about what's happening. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wynantskill. I have a child that's entering UPK this year, and I'm just confused on how, because my understanding is UPK through 8 is for Gardner Dickinson, and then you have a choice of high school currently, and just want to understand if that would still be a K through 8 school if it transitions, or if I would then have to send him to Troy Middle School and then Troy High School. That's all. Just, I'm new to the district. I just want to know what I have to do for my children because they're still little babies. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Casey Hannigan, parent of a recent graduate and a middle schooler, but also a neighboring district kindergarten teacher. A huge concern of mine, this is kind of more to Wynantskill, is students are now in the middle of this. And I just want to make sure that it's displayed and really talked about how our kids are going to go through this the next couple of years. Our kids are resilient and strong, but they're vulnerable and they're anxious. And we all know we don't really have a ton of support in our local school with this. So I'm just hoping as a parent that this would be addressed and how we can really focus on the kids during this as well. Because I already have, multiple kids messaging and finding out that my school might close and there's already talk. And I really think this is something super important that needs to be brought up. We're all scared, this is nerve-wracking. But just not, I think we worry about so much going on teachers' plates, but there's just other people, there's other things that we need to involve in this. And I think one of the biggest things is we really have to think about the kids during this time. And as parents as well, is we need to all come together and make this as positive as it can be. Because, it's not the easiest thing. But thank you for all of your time, and I appreciate everybody that came out tonight.
Okay, thank you very much for your input. This is being recorded. We will mark down every single one. The ones I haven't answered, even the ones I have, we'll get it out in an FAQ, so you'll see it after every one of those committee meetings, stakeholder meetings, forums, town halls, wherever we're calling them. We will update that FAQs and make sure it is a transparent process. I think we will have no problem guaranteeing that. I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. All right, thank you, everyone. Motion on the floor to approve item 1, feasibility study as listed on the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Yep.
There is a motion on the floor to approve item 1, feasibility study listed on the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
A motion on the floor to adjourn the joint meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
There is a motion on the floor to adjourn the joint meeting. All those in favor? Opposed?
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.